If you've ever had a painful trip to the doctor or the dentist, then take heart from some new research out of the US today that the pain may have been, well, your fault. You were wearing maybe the wrong coloured shirt. Psychologists in the States showed people images of different colours before subjecting them to a small electric shock. The results were, I thought they were quite bizarre. They showed that those who'd been shown the colours of green or blue then reported lower levels of pain than those who'd seen red. It's just the latest in a long line of studies and reports showing that humans may be more affected by colour than we realise. Whether it's staring at a green wall for concentration, wearing a red tie to appear powerful, or painting prisons pink to stem violence. So how much truth and science is there behind the psychology of colour? Well, Zena is a Sydney colour consultant with a PhD in human responses to colour. She works with clients like councils, galleries and hospitals to get their paint selection spot on. She joins us in the studio. Good afternoon.
Hi, Richard.
Before we explore the whole area, can we start with this study out today? This sounds very unlikely that your pain response would be mediated by the colour you've been exposed to in the hour or so beforehand.
Yes, look, I agree with that. Responses to colour really have to do with our own beliefs about colour, our own beliefs as to whether colour will have some kind of impact on us. There are quite a few people that don't go along with that, but then there's a fairly large proportion of the population that does seem to think that colour has an impact on us. And I guess in a way it's like listening to music. Some people find listening to Mozart kind of very calming and it'll chill them out, whereas other people don't like Mozart.
Or it won't have that impact.
Exactly.
So it's very individual. So you might be somebody who is really calmed by a room that's painted blue or green.
Yes.
But someone else might not have that impact.
Exactly. And that's because we all have different ideas about colour. For some people, blue is quite depressing. It might seem a cold colour. So for them, wearing blue or going into a room that's blue, they won't find it calming. They'll actually find it cold and depressing.
And so for them, it would be better to have one of those warm colours like red.
Exactly. Yes, or perhaps a variety of colours. Yeah,
okay, but
definitely.
What about the prison one? Because I've read about this in, I think it's some bizarre jurisdiction in the United States where they've decided to, if they paint everything pink, the men won't be as violent.
Yeah, that's the Baker-Miller study, and it's quite old now. And that was an interesting study. The holding pen, for want of a better term, for criminals that had just recently been captured, was painted pink. And the guards noticed that it appeared to have a calming effect on them. Since that time, a lot of researchers believe that it actually was the novelty effect of that colour. Mm-hmm. I mean, where do you go to find an immersive pink environment? Nowhere. There isn't.
So it kind of distracted them from their usual violent norms.
Exactly. And also, it was a colour that young females like, so it probably had an almost sort of demasculating impact on them as well.
Yeah, isn't that weird? If you were advising business, is there a way to make people spend more money, to drink more in a bar, to behave in a particular way? Or do you think it is so individual that you can't manipulate?
Look, it is very individual. I run colour psychology workshops, and one of the first things that we do in this workshop is we look at a whole selection of colours, and we choose which colours may be calming or meaningful or arousing
to
for
particular
us,
people.
To particular people. And then we put them up on a board and look at them. And the variety is astounding. However, there are certain guidelines at the moment. If you want to create a sense of creativity in the workplace, it's good to have a variety of colours. Not a lot of colours, but colour variety. To use colours that are not too high chroma or heavily saturated, but to have a certain level of chroma to them. So a lot of workplaces now are applying this approach.
Okay, so it's a stimulating visual environment without being an overwhelming one.
Exactly.
Giving the time for the brain to do its work, I
Exactly.
guess.
And also to have some sort of blank canvas areas, if you like, some sort of white or blank areas, so that you're getting a variety of colour and then some blank canvas areas to give the eye a rest.
Okay, we're talking about the psychological impact of colour, as this US research goes, well, a step further than Zena in saying that you can actually sustain more pain if you've been shown green or blue. She finds that unlikely. How do you tell your own colours? How can you predict what colours are going to have an impact on you as a person?
So it's a matter of making a note, I guess, or identifying what colours you find pleasing, what colours you're drawn to, what colours you'll associate with a happy day, for example, or if you're angry, what colours you're more likely to go to. The screen behind you has this bright orangey red dots against a black background. Now,
it's ghastly, isn't it?
It's ghastly.
It gives us migraines.
Exactly. So good thing you're not looking at it day in, day out.
The poor guest has to look at it.
Whereas on the other hand, you've got a beautiful view of a lovely leafy green tree.
Yeah.
Now, there was quite a lot of research done by Kaplan and Kaplan, a husband and wife team, back in the 80s and through to the 90s. And they looked at the restorative effects of nature. And they found that if you spend time in nature, if you're looking at nature, it does have a restorative effect. So that could, in fact, link back to the green and the study that you were talking about.
And I wonder if the painting, I love it at home. We've got a painting of some gum trees at home. I love staring at it. It's not real nature, it's painted nature, but I still love looking at it.
Exactly. It's nevertheless a view of nature. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Yes, okay. It's interesting. The other thing I think is interesting is how many people, if you ask them what your favourite colour is, they can almost instantly tell you, can't you? You ask people what their favourite number is, and some people say a number, but most people say, oh, don't be ridiculous, I haven't got one. Well, but with colour, nearly everyone has one.
Exactly. And also, to sort of complicate that a little further, there's this thing called the blue phenomenon, where when you ask a person their favourite colour, 9 times out of 10 they say blue. And
is that right?
Yeah, in our culture, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant culture, blue is the vast majority of people's favourite colour.
Emma, what's your favourite colour? Green. That's mine too.
There you go.
What's yours?
Red.
Red? What does that mean?
I like red. I've got a red car, red logo on my business. Yeah.
So one of the banks or real estate agents or insurers is running an ad at the moment which has got a lady dressed entirely in yellow with a yellow car and a yellow house, and it says, why do you think I bought this car?
Yeah.
So we're not as obsessed as that, hopefully.
No, most people aren't. No.
You've found our true colours. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
There you go. There's Zena O'Connor with the science of colour. Which is your best colour? Are you one of the majority who like blue, or are you with Emma and I on the greens, or maybe with our guest, with Zena, on the red? But I see your